welcome back, everyone. Chapter 13 in your textbook. That is your last chapter. It's the next last chapter we're going to cover. We're going to do a 14th chapter next time. My favorite. Your authors have eliminated it from the book, and I'm looking at the calendar, and we still have another week to go, so I can fit that one in. Yay! Nevertheless, we are nearing the end, and we're coming into a section here that is, well, it's up for great debate, to say the least. A human impact on the environment. Earlier, we looked at the four themes on climate change. We looked at the tilt of the Earth's axis, the Earth's orbits, volcanism, and human activity. The former three theories are undeniable, right? Very powerful forces. The fourth, as I said, up for a great debate. Today, and I want to handle all this very carefully. Today, I want to present the side, if you will, that human activity is a main culprit. Okay, along with the former three themes. And frankly, I'm going to be corroborating a lot of what your authors, the positions that your authors take. And as we move into the week, we're going to look at some challenges to this via some papers by some scientists from some think tanks, because your authors really don't seem to acknowledge the the other side, if you will, on this matter. So, be that as it may, let us keep an open mind this week as we do this, because there's so much at risk, really. If one side is wrong, then our free market system could run us off an environmental cliff. However, if the other side is too extreme, they run the risk of running our free enterprise system into a ditch, which, by the way, is one of the major suspicions of the camp that man-made climate change, the man-made climate change denier camp. That's one of their major suspicions, that environmental extremism is designed politically to do that, to harm the free market system. So in this chapter, what we want to do here is get those objectives up there and some of the heads up terms, and we'll get going here. Yes, we want to explain the position from the man-made climate change deniers. We often don't hear from them in our, like I said, in our textbooks and on the web. And we want to support an opinion about environmental policy. Some of the major heads up terms here that we are going to be covering today in this lecture. We're going to be taking a look at the troposphere. That's your lowest layer of the atmosphere. Your hydrosphere, surface and subsurface waters from oceans to lakes to glaciers. Unfortunately, your authors, I'm surprised, do not have a good illustration of this, because we like our visuals. And then the biosphere, we'll jump into that. Basically, two interrelated systems there: the sun and plants slash animals. The niche, called niche over in Britain and France. It's a French word, but it's referred to as niche here in the U.S. The niche is, basically depicts every organism, to have a place in the ecosystem, and a type of food chain, if you will. We'll delve into that. Acid rain, that's the burning of coal to produce electricity, and that gets transported allegedly through the atmosphere and returns to the earth in forms of acidic rain, um, snow, fog, or dust. Subsidence, this is where your ground begins to sink. Okay, the NAP, AP, that was a uh, environmental group put out an environmental paper about the all the potential disasters of acid rain, and in your readings coming up later on in the week, that you'll see where that was was challenged. And then the Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol. Actually, not going to get to that today. Probably that would be a big theme with your readings, but I'll mention it here. The Kyoto Protocol, 1997, Kyoto, Japan, basically designed to get your wealthier countries to cut back on emissions. It was very controversial at the time. China and India were not asked to do anything about their cutbacks. The Americans were like, wait a minute, we're doing things to um, keep the air clean. We India and China have dirtier air than we do, and the protocol's not asking some of those nations to do anything. Again, the suspicions were high as to why. So, but yeah, that there will be. As I'm thinking about it now, that will be for later on in the week. We'll really be talking about the Kyoto Protocol and some of the readings. So, start to get into some of these themes here. I'm going to talk about the biosphere first and set this up. But people exist within a natural environment that they continuously modify. The biosphere, that is composed of the atmosphere, your surface and subsurface waters, and even the upper reaches of the Earth's crust. And it's basically an intricately interconnected system. And its constituents are continuously recycled and renewed to maintain this web of life. There's a great debate about the influence of human interference and whether it acts destructively in the natural processes of recycling and renewal by interrupting them, by arguably placing impossible demands upon them, and by introducing to the environment materials foreign to nature. Let's take a look at this here, the content of the biosphere. Content of the biosphere, this is the thin film of air, water, and earth, and this can be broken down into three parts. The troposphere is um, your lowest layer of the atmosphere, about 7 miles up from the Earth's surface. Your hydrosphere, surface and subsurface of the waters from oceans to lakes to glaciers. And then the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust, no more than a few thousand feet of its uppermost reaches. And this involves soils that support plant life and the minerals that support plant life and animal life, along with the fossil fuels that we enjoy, right? Then you have your biosphere. The biosphere consists of two interrelated systems. One, the sun and all of its required chemicals, and then your plants and animals. Now, for the exception of the sun, the other components are subject to alteration. And the debate is whether they can correct themselves or not. Again, climate change deniers are not denying that there hasn't been climate change. They look at the first three theories and say, yes, that's been happening since the beginning of time, but it's also been proven to correct itself. And that's the debate. You know, can these things correct themselves? Now, the ecosystem. An ecosystem is as I say here, a self-containing unit that consists of plants and animals, air, water, and the soil all existing together. A niche where every organism inhabits a specific place in the ecosystem. Therefore, the organism contains various organisms within a niche with a food chain where material and energy pass from one another. Now, your author does do a fantastic job um, on Figure 13.2, page 376, with this web of life. Okay, that I encourage you to check out. Start moving into human alteration, and let me just um, get that set up too here. Globally, fresh water is abundant, but many local areas suffer from water shortages. Water withdrawals for power plants, for industry, and irrigation affects the hydrologic cycle. You have river channelization and impoundments are argued to also alter erosional and depositional patterns, and as well as chemical and thermal polluting activities that supposedly strain or exceed natural water purification processes. Figure 13.4 on pages 380 over into 381, figure 13.7 and 13.8 as well. Give you some illustrations of the hydrologic cycle. And again, as we get into deeper into the week with some of the assignments and discussion questions, we'll look at some other some other data on what has actually been going on with air and water quality through private sector initiatives. The troposphere, this is the thin layer of air just above the Earth's surface, is also subject to natural and human pollution. Industrialization and urbanization in particular have ended up adding particulate matter, noxious gases, and chemical compounds that can result in respiratory problems, purported acid rain, vegetation loss, and perhaps inadvertent weather and climate modification. But not even the solid Earth is immune from human alteration. Excavations, subsidence from mining and groundwater withdrawal, and mounds of mounds of debris alter naturally established surface configurations. Agricultural practices have led to changes in the structure, the fertility, and even the drainage characteristics of soil. Erosion, desertification, and salinization are among the impacts of agriculture as well on soils. So, human alteration. Let's break this down a little bit. Excavation is the primary reason for pits, ponds, ridges, and trenches, your subsidence depression, canals, and reservoirs, mining, building construction and agriculture, construction of transportation facilities, railways, and highways have led to earth moving excavation. Your surface mining has had the greatest impacts on the landscape. Surface mining, such as open pit mining, which extracts resources from the earth, along with strip mining. They leave these open gashes in the earth. Figure 1320 on page 395 gives you some gives you some pictures, actually, some photographs of that. Then you got, along with this, you got dumping, right? Dumping is, where you have waste rocks and mill leftovers near the mine sites. Dumping has caused the landform to change. You get from that terraces are often cut into the sides of the hills and the mountains. In some places, the actual shape of the shoreline has changed. And then subsidence. Subsidence is caused by extracting, material from the Earth's surface as well. And what this does here, this causes the land to sink, the land surface to sink, and this in turn removes fluids, from the ground, causing cities to, begin to sink. New Orleans is so-called a classic example of this. I know the Army Corps of Engineers, you know, sometime in the past, looking to, um, you know, stop New Orleans from being hammered by, Gulf uh, uh, hurricanes and subsequent flooding, ended up purportedly doing more damage by causing a lot of subsidence. And then, you had Hurricane Katrina back in, I guess, 2005, had hit New Orleans especially hard because of this issue. So you have current methods of waste disposal in industrialized society also leads to the alteration of the biosphere. Although much attention is given to the problems of hazardous waste disposal, the removal of it, storage and destruction of municipal waste too is an increasing. So in this section here, we looked at the substance. We looked at the biosphere, the troposphere, the hydrosphere. I would encourage you to look as well at the stop the share here. I would encourage you to, I went off the screen there. Look at the that I supplied for you. And let's take a look at, pardon me here, I'm having problems with my setup here. Let's take a look at what's up ahead. And got some things to talk about there. All right, Wednesday. I have TBD there, to be announced. It's either going to be a group project based around 5 short readings, or you're going to have a reading guide based around the same short readings. Just to be very candid about it, the setting up the groups in Canvas is, I don't know if it's overrated or just above my pay grade here, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I can how you're going to approach that, because you're going to need these readings. These readings are giving you a very important viewpoint from the man-made climate change deniers, and you're going to need to address these in the discussion questions. Thursday, there is a lab, and it's going to be evaluating some of the biases, of various environmental websites. Sierra Club, you've heard of. I'm going to have you take a look at that and some other ones. Friday through Sunday, your discussion questions. These will be on this lecture model and the 5 short readings via either the small groups that I'm going to break you guys up in and see how I can work that out, or a reading guide. So when you guys do the evaluations at the end and the group project thing comes up, just remember, I tried to do it, right? I tried to do them. I like them. I don't mind them. It's just they seem to be hard to negotiate, very candidly for me in Canvas. I guess I take comfort in thinking, the discussion questions are group projects. If you like group projects, you're not completely deprived. Monday we'll quiz, and then we'll begin my favorite chapter, the regional concept. You're not going to have a textbook for that, but I have the notes, believe me. Okay. Questions, comments, you know how to get a hold of me. And again, I'll get in touch with you as soon as I can about what direction I'm going to take for Wednesday's assignment, which is going to be highly connected to the discussion question. So until then, you guys have a great week. Stay well and safe, and see you next time. Bye bye.